Hey, this is Elliot Wave Sage. I want to go ahead and do a market update. And like always, this isn't financial advice. Always do what's best for you. So the market really tried to pump today, and it got rejected. And it was for some points even down over 100, but intraday it may have swung 400 or 500 points down. So the trading was very volatile, and a lot of traders may be confused what's going on. But if this is the count, we could be ready for maybe potentially a historic drop if this is the count. Now, the SPY, you can see you have this 1-2-1-2 setup. Now, this could be on the shorter time frame. I could label this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and put the 1 there, and then have the 2 come a little bit higher tomorrow. So it's possible. We'll see how the futures trade. For now, this is the count. And really, today's trading, while it was confusing for a lot of people, it was the clue was the dollar index, and the clue was the banks being so weak. And then eventually the Russell broke down, and when it broke this 170 level, why is 170 important? I think that's this level right here, the December low broke, so that's significant. So we're on our way to maybe even breaking the lows, the first index to do that. And you can see here, look on the 15-minute, very bearish candles, struggling, bull, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. It's not working. Damn it, it's not working. And I can't manipulate the market higher, which is what I think the futures are. They're desperate to keep the pump going. But what's going to happen is it's just going to just unravel fast, and it's going to get out of hand. It's going to get real sloppy soon, because of all this this artificial like pumping. It's just so extreme. So for now, I call the Russell this. It could also be a 1-2. The triple Qs, 1-2, 1-2. This one's a tricky one. If it breaks that high, of course, then it would be still in 5. Going higher. Right now, a lot of traders are hoping that this is nice safety, but I think those hopes are going to turn into a nightmare soon for buying where you are. I think it is a very risky trade to take any long position in tech. Let me tell you again, it is very risky, and I'll show you later why. You're playing with fire if you're trying to get that last little bit of juice out of the orange. And I don't really care what this count is, honestly. It's just when you look at the stocks that make it up, most of them are in the wave 5 of 5 of 5 type setup. I was looking, perhaps I could call this a WXYXZ and then relabel this. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to have to look at it more and study it more, especially if we could take this peak out on the weekly. I would change to something a little different. So I don't know what this count really looks like. I think it's not an ideal count, but I think it's heading lower. It just seems that way. The Russell and the banks are going to pull everything down. It's going to pull, this is where we're losing fuel. Fuel is coming out, and eventually the whole airplane will crash. And if we can't plug this, no matter how much Nvidia you buy, it's all going to succumb to a massive crisis. Because if the Russells if this index starts doing what the banking sector's been doing, where we're going down 6-7% clips in a day in a major indice, the whole damn thing's going to go under because of the correlations, and then the ETFs that make that where this what this part of. So we got to be really really watching this IWM. So China pumped last night, kept the market higher. It does that with a weaker dollar, but once the dollar finds a bid, this will go back down, and we'll have to get new levels to look at for a dip there. But Could still go a little bit higher. Bitcoin never broke the top today, so this count is still valid. And in AB, like a WXY correction, it really needs to break this high, or we have major problems in the crypto universe. And gold, so gold's been a tricky structure. I believe we finished 5 here, and now we're in a WXY. And then we'll see what could happen. Maybe 5 can extend more, which I think is probably most likely. But I am, if you're trying to short the gold miners and gold, this is a strong instrument. I don't like shorting it personally, but it does seem like as the dollar rises, it's going to be under pressure. It should go lower. Then the 10-year it's really tricky. I think I'm hearing a lot of people say we're going to go lower. It's possible that C can go down into this area, down a little bit before it rises. It could be finished. It's tough to say where it's going to head. This should be bullish for tech. This should be bearish for tech. So if you believe tech has a little bit more upside, then maybe you get this. If you think tech is ready to turn lower, then it's this, and we'll go higher. So I don't know exactly. Now, some people on the internet were like, it's going to do like something like that. Now, if it does something, crazy like this, where this is just a 3-swing move, we don't get 5, and it's corrective, then yeah, this could be deflationary, risk off, back to the more classical, crap moment where everyone runs to bonds for safety. So you also need to think about that. We may not get a 4 and a 5 here in the 10-year. And so depending what this does, we'll need to wait and see. Yeah, it's bullish for tech to a point, but if the floodgates open up on the 10-year, we've seen what happens before when that happens. I mean, it's massive risk off for the market. And then this would just be a 3-swing move, which would be corrective off this low. So that could say, maybe it's back to negative rates on the 10-year again. So we need to keep an eye. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to go up one more, and then we'll have a nasty pullback, which should really pressure the market lower for at least this leg of it, maybe not the first leg down. The VIX was interesting today. It really did break out of this like wedged like pattern, and I was watching that today, and it's like, oh, it broke out. Look at that. It actually worked, and this was the area I said it should bounce, and we bounced. So now the question is, do we get that follow through back up to 30 or even higher? Or do we break back down? So this isn't relevant anymore. So we'll see. Dollar index, again, if you were trading the dollar index, you watched it form this inverse head and shoulders. I mean, it was textbook. And again, this is why I pretty much knew the pump was going to fail. Because you're watching this form, it's just a slow motion, setup. Now, it looks like it could be a 3, 4, 5 here soon. And then we know what happens after 5 waves. You pull back. So that means the market should be supported when this happens. So keep that in mind. The only way it could be more bearish is if we can get another 1, 2 here. So we don't know yet what's the market going to do. I think it's going to come up here at least to this trend line, somewhere around there. Perhaps it can go even higher. We'll see. And start forming a bigger inverse head and shoulders for a much bigger reversal later. But it does seem like it's making the turn up, and that's bearish for the market. Should be bearish for gold, bearish for most things. Okay, and then oil. Yeah, oil had a little pump, but then that failed, and that helps me confirm this is a 2-wave, not a 4-wave. So now we go down. And oil will be bearish as people are FOMOing in energy on TV. So there's a lot of FOMO in tech. There's a lot of buy the dip in energy. There's a lot of go long something, I don't hear a lot of go short anything, which is kind of, scratches my head why people wouldn't want to sell here. And you have the divergences, which if you're a divergence trader, which I'm not, I mean, you even have those, and especially if tech can make a new high here, that would be a massive divergence. So I don't understand the FOMO in the tech and like, oh my God, I got to just put everything in and it's gonna go to. I mean, there's some people with a lot of followers, saying we're going up to here. I mean, this is what I was talking about possibly as a scenario when we were in this third wave here, but that didn't happen, right? And it wasn't tech that rained on our parade. It was the IWM. We saw the IWM break down, right? And we knew to get out of the market when that happened because it's just going to bring the whole damn thing down. And that's the thing that many traders don't understand is there's no way tech is going to be able to make it to these levels or these levels. Well, the IWM is under pressure down here. It just isn't possible. It's going to bring everything down eventually. Then the technology sector. So I think, like for example, AMD looks like it probably has finished its swings. That looks like it's finished. Amazon possibly finished here. Tesla finished there. Microsoft changing this count to WXYXZ, so that would finish here where you don't need to make that other high. That will fool a lot of Elliott wave folks if that happens, because you would think, oh, it should go higher, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but it may not. See, I can change. See how I changed that, and all the RSIs work. So that could be done, and it actually hit the area where I would have expected. So not saying it still can do it, but I found a count that works to cause the top. Now Nvidia does look like it's not done. One more high, but I can easily change things. Put the 3 here, the 4 here, and I can put the 5, and we're done. So you don't know. So, but as you say, it's so dangerous. Look at what you're buying right now. Look at the massive bearish divergences, right? Let's look at the 4-hour, the daily, the 4-hour. You have it. So it's just you guys are just if you're chasing this, you're gonna be very sad, I think, soon. Apple here. I think I was working on my Apple chart. Yeah, so Apple, I'm still trying to kind of come up with what's the right way to label this chart. I still think it's a 3-swing move on W, and then we have this X, and then where we came down again in a move. Could it be 3 and 3? So I'm thinking I'm going to lean toward, again, like a triple here, a W, X, Y, XZ correction, and then that will allow the 3 and the 3, and that should be good. And so I think that's how I would look at Apple at the moment, something like that. And obviously very bullish. Again, people covet it, love it so much, but one day the cycle will end. One day iPhones won't sell anymore like they used to. And again, this will unravel fast unless they can find something else to pivot to. And you got this massive top here, so if that, probably looking at potentially like $100 around there. There's this gap here, probably will fill that gap. So that's what I'm thinking for Apple right now. So yeah, is it time to FOMO, right? Is it time to FOMO? Disney. Yeah, it looks like we have impulse down here. Looks like it's 3 waves, at least on this time frame. So could be a couple things. Not really. I have to look at this closer. So that's technology and cryptos. I hadn't really looked too much hard at cryptos today. Like Coinbase was getting hit hard here. If we lose 48. Then it should take a deeper swing down to retest the $32 low. Pretty bearish. MicroStrategy. Let's take a look. Again, looks like 3 swings up. So again, if it can't make a new high, this will be a connector and it will go back to retest the lows. And if we make a new low, we'll have to redo the count, and then we're looking probably at 80 bucks. Financials had a tough day. You know, despite all the pumping on the internet, Schwab's still pulling lower. FRC lower, of course. Capital One and Wells Fargo did fall. They tried to bounce a little bit, but I still think they've got a pretty long journey lower coming, along with many others. I heard DB was under pressure today. Their CDSs were really getting a bid. Keep an eye on that one. We'll see where that may end up. UBS was under pressure today with some legal action threats for helping Russia evade sanctions. Again, it just doubled in the area, and now all of a sudden, now the news comes out in a wave 3 down that it's got major issues. Go figure. Down it goes. So these are weak. The stocks and the bank stocks are weak. All right, so that's the market. So I think if my count is right, we should see pretty good sell-off with some pretty traumatic news coming soon. And there is still a chance we could still have a relief rally tomorrow of some kind. If I look at this count as a full one, and maybe we could get a relief rally, but it's not looking very likely at the moment. I guess that's my update.